What's up, guys? Today we're going to show you how to make Pastel de Lengua. Pastel de Lengua is a Filipino dish that's made up of beef tongue, mushrooms, and corn, and is stewed in a creamy garlic butter sauce. To make our version of Pastel de Lengua, you'll first want to get a hold of beef tongue. Ours was frozen, so we thawed it out in the fridge for 2 days beforehand. Once it's ready to go, take it out of the packaging and give it a good rinse. Afterwards, place your beef tongue into a pressure cooker. Today we're using an Instant Pot to pressure cook it, but the process is pretty much the same if you're using a normal pressure cooker. Now, go ahead and add in 1 small sliced onion and 5 bay leaves. Then, pour in just enough water to cover your beef tongue.
Next, secure the lid to your Instant Pot. And make sure that the steam release is set to the ceiling setting. And then set the Instant Pot to the meat stew setting at high pressure for 45 minutes. If you're using a normal pressure cooker, you'll want to pressure cook your beef tongue for about 20 to 30 minutes. When it's done pressure cooking, allow it to naturally release all the pressure. Once the float valve unlocks, it's safe to open. Using a pair of tongs, take out your beef tongue and place it into a bowl. And allow it to cool for at least 30 minutes. When it's cool enough to handle, it's time to start prepping and cutting it up. First, what you want to do is peel off the outer skin of the beef tongue. If you need to, you can use a knife to get under the skin. And also, don't forget to peel under the tongue. Next, cut off the extra stuff at the base of the tongue, as well as these furry things on the side. If you know what these parts are, let us know in the comments below. At this point, you can start slicing up your beef tongue. Starting at the base of the tongue, cut slices that are about 1/4 inch thick. Next, trim off the second layer of skin around the slices. Some people like to keep these back ridges of the tongue, but we like to cut it off. But it's really up to you. Then continue slicing up the rest of your beef tongue the same way. We like to cut our beef tongue like this just so it's a little more presentable. Every beef tongue has a unique shape to it, so you'll have to adapt your cutting to how it's shaped. When you get to the very tip of the tongue, just shave off the remaining taste buds. If you got this far, pat yourself on the back because this was the hardest part.
Now, it's time to start cooking. Set a pot over medium-low heat, and then drop in 3 tablespoons of butter. Using a mixing spoon, move the butter around until it fully melts. Next, add in 6 to 9 cloves of minced garlic, and saute the garlic in the butter. Afterwards, place your beef tongue into the pot, and coat it with the garlic butter saute. Then pour in 1 2/3 cups of water. Cover your pot and leave it cracked open a little if your lid doesn't have a venting hole. Bring your beef tongue to a boil, and once at a boil, bring it down to a simmer, and simmer everything for 40 to 60 minutes. When it's done, take the lid off your pot and fork the beef tongue to see if its tenderness is to your liking. If it's not, just continue simmering it until it is. Next, sprinkle in 1 teaspoon of salt and stir it in. At this point, if you find the liquid is running a little low, you can add in a little bit more water. We ended up adding another 1 cup. Cover your pot again with the lid slightly cracked open and continue simmering everything for another 15 minutes. Afterwards, add in 1 7.6 fluid ounce can of table cream and mix it in, followed by 1½ cups of sliced mushrooms and 1½ cups of whole corn kernels. Stir everything together. At this point, you're trying to thicken the sauce, so continue simmering it for another 15 minutes uncovered. Next, go ahead and taste your sauce to check if it needs more salt. Ours was perfect, so we didn't end up adding any. Our sauce wasn't quite at our preferred thickness at this point, so we actually ended up simmering it for another 15 minutes. When your pastel de lengua looks like this, you're all done! We know that beef tongue can be a little intimidating for most, but if you're down with it, we promise this dish does not disappoint. It's talagang tasty!